Hi everyone, this video covers an exercise for proofing the recall. Now it's important to understand that your dog will need some basic skills before working on this exercise to set you and your training up for success. I'm going to link video tutorials in the description below so you can check those out before working on this exercise. So it's important to work on a very basic recall to begin with so the dog has heard the word and has been conditioned to want to run towards you for reinforcement. And then the second thing you want to work on is the leash pressure game, because this exercise is going to be on leash to begin with. And then the third thing is an attention noise or your dog's name, so that you can utilize that noise during this exercise. First, I suggest warming up by simply saying your recall with no distractions and marking and reinforcing your dog for coming towards you. The next step is starting to proof the recall with distractions. I suggest using food at first to work on this concept, and you can do this game in your living room with your dog closer to you on leash, so you only need a 6-foot leash or a 5-foot leash to work on this exercise. Now basically, you put the distraction far enough away from the dog so that the dog is able on a 5 or 6-foot leash to turn towards you when you ask your dog to turn towards you. And if your dog can't, you need to be further away from the distraction. So if your dog is really excited about food, you can use a low value food as the distraction at first. So my little puppy is pretty excited about all different types of food, so I can't really utilize that concept, but for other dogs you could put something like pieces of carrot or their kibble that they eat if they're not that excited about kibble as the treats you have, and then use a higher value treat for asking for your dog to turn their attention away from the distraction and come back to you. So if you've done other tutorials of mine on the leash pressure game and the attention noise, you'll notice it's a very similar picture to this. The difference is that we're adding the cue come to mean come towards me, and then stay with me until released. Okay, so I'm going to put some treats down, and that's the hardest part. So if there are two of you, it's extremely helpful, but I'm going to put some treats down out of reach from her over here. And I am going to have her a little closer so that you can see what to do if the dog doesn't turn towards you, but you can see she already did turn towards me. So I'm going to give her a little bit extra leash by walking away from her. And anytime your dog chooses to turn away from a distraction towards you, you can mark it. But now I'm going to add my recall and say, come. And if she doesn't come, I can go in and lure her back to me, mark and reinforce like that. Good job. She's like, this is very confusing. It's because she already has worked on this exercise, so she's a pro. Come. Good. So basically, when the dog is at the end of the leash, and if they're a normal dog that's had no training, actually if you do the first 3 tutorials that I told you about, you'll find this game is way too easy for your dog. And basically, you're teaching your dog impulse control and wanting to come to you when they're distractions. So that's why it will be easy if you work on the first 3 exercises. But basically, if your dog's facing out towards the distraction, you're going to make the attention noise, or say your dog's name, mark and reinforce, as it will be much easier for your dog just to turn and look in your direction rather than come all the way to you. So you can do that as a first step. Your dog's out at the end of the leash, looking at the distraction, and then I can't get her to look at it. Hold on, there we go. Look at the distraction. Good. I can mark with the attention noise, and then I can hold the treat near my body so that not only is she looking at me, but I've got her to come all the way to me away from the distraction. Then you can start to get more distance from your dog and use your recall when your dog is having success with the attention noise. Hold on. I have to get her invested in looking at the distraction again, which you don't need to do in your own training. If the dog's already ignoring the distraction, it's time to move on to more difficult distractions. Come. Good girl. Good. Come. Now I have this glass dish that I'm going to put treats underneath. If you have a helper, you can have the helper just hold treats in their hand like this, and you can practice recalling your dog away from the treats that are harder to get to.
There. Here.
Awesome. So I'm going to put the treats down like that in the Tupperware, and then I'm going to use my recall and say, Epic, come. Good. But if she didn't think to come, I could show her the treat that I have and say, pop, 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 and mark her for coming towards me. And then I'm going to mark and reinforce her multiple times for staying with me like that, so that the recall doesn't mean get one treat and then run back to whatever you had a big interest in. Good job. So if you were working with, say, for example, going to say hi to another dog, maybe you interrupted two dogs playing, you call your dog over, you could then say, okay, go say hi, and then encourage your dog to go and play or say hi to a person or dog or whatever you wish to use as the reinforcement. So in the scenario with food, you might not reinforce your dog by going to get the food. That's the distraction. But when you're working with recalling away from another dog or person, and the dog is friendly and enjoys the social interaction, you can actually make the dog more reliable at listening to you if you then release them to go and get to do what they want to do. Because if the dog finds the person or dog more reinforcing in all scenarios than any type of treat, then it's really hard to compete and build a reliable recall if you're calling the dog away from something they like more. So by then letting the dog do what they wanted to do, it can greatly reinforce them coming back and listening to you. Come! Good! Good girl. Good girl. Good girl. Go sniff. Check it out. Good. When your dog is having success on leash with this exercise, you can then work with the dog off leash. Go sniff. Epic, come. Good. Good girl. Okay, go sniff. And I might sprinkle a couple treats for her to eat. So she's investigating. Oh, she's too smart. I'll sprinkle more treats. Epic! Come! Pop, pop, pop. Good. Okay, go sniff. Go sniff. Epic, come! Good. So some of the treats are accessible, and then there are others that aren't accessible. So if she didn't listen to me, come! I could then go over to her and then lure her back. So I'm only calling her after she's eaten all of the treats that are accessible, so that when I call her, she doesn't get reinforced by eating something for ignoring me. Now, if this was too difficult for your dog, then you can go back a step and use lower value treats, or go back to just having the treats inaccessible. I also have another game that utilizes a snuffle mat that's very similar, where you're releasing the dog to go eat the treats in the snuffle mat that are low value, and you're reinforcing your dog with high value treats for coming back to you, and I'll link that in the video, in the description below. Come! Good job. You can see she wants to run back to the distraction, so I'm just going to mark and reinforce her at a higher rate of reinforcement for staying with me, and I can also work on the duration of staying with me with that distraction. Good. Okay, go sniff. Good girl. Go sniff. And the reason that I am letting her to continually go and sniff that distraction is that in real life situations, you're going to be calling your dog away from things that you want them to do. So it's not a leave it exercise where I want the dog to leave it. This is simulating her perhaps smelling another dog's pee, or she's smelled something interesting in the park, or she's saying hi to another dog or saying hi to a person. So it's something that she's allowed to do, but I just need to call her away. So she's investigating and looking for treats. and I need to interrupt her in the middle of it. So this is the first step. Epic, come. Good. Let's go. And you can also ask for other behaviors in between. Okay, go sniff. Good job. Epic, come. Sit. Good. Okay, go sniff. Good girl. In this example, your puppy wants to meet your adult dog or a person. So maybe one of your family members has treats and they're standing at the end of the field. And the example is going to be Splash, and it's not going to be very exciting because she's already been hanging out with Splash. But I'll show you the idea, and then we'll work with some other distractions. So the first step is having the dog at a distance from the distraction where the dog can actually want to turn back to you to get the treats. And then you can use the distraction as the reward. So I'm going to walk over there, see if I can call Wish to me, and if she can come, I can click and feed multiple treats and then give her a release cue to go and do whatever it was that she wanted to do. So maybe it's seeing Splash, maybe it's playing with a toy, maybe it's eating some treats. So at first, I'm just going to show you this example with Splash. And earlier, I filmed her meeting Splash for the first time and me recalling her away from meeting Splash. So first, you're going to call the dog before they get to the distraction, and then if they're doing really good, you can see if you can call your puppy away from the actual distraction. Are you ready? You stay there, boo-boo. Come on, Wish. So as we turn around and we're heading that way, Wish, come. Good job. Let's go. Wish, come. Awesome. So I'm going to click and feed her for staying with me, offering me eye contact, and then I could say, okay, go say hi, and then I can follow her on a loose leash to go play with Splash. She actually wants some Frisbees that are just off shop right now. Good girl. Sorry, Splash, you're boring. Wish, come. Yeah, good girl, good girl. Go say hi. Wish, come. Good girl. Okay, so this time the distraction is going to be a Frisbee, and I'm going to toss it away from me, or I could have someone else put it down, but I'm going to keep her on a very short leash so she doesn't jerk herself as I throw it. I could also hold her harness. So I'm going to throw the Frisbee over there, let go so she's on a short leash, let her see the Frisbee. Good girl. Move her around so she's up, because it will be harder if she's standing up, and then I'm going to call her. Wish, come. Awesome. Good girl. Reinforce multiple times for her being with me. Good girl. And now I'm going to release her to get the Frisbee. So either I can take her off leash, or I can run with her to get the Frisbee as long as it's on a loose leash. So you might want to not throw whatever toy it is too far, because you don't want to train your puppy to pull on leash towards things they like. So now I'm going to give her the release. Okay, go play. And she's going to get to play with the Frisbee. Oh, what a good girl. Come on into the shop. Where's the Frisbee? Bring it here. Wish, come. Awesome. Good job. Wish, come. So you don't always have to release the dog to the object after you call them. You can walk around, and when your dog's focused on whatever it is, Wish, come. Awesome. Now, say your dog goes out ahead and doesn't listen to you when you say come, you can simply walk backwards going up, 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 and then try from further away. Wish, come. Awesome. Come. Good job. Good job. You're free. Go play. Huh? Ready? Go play. Wish, come. Yes, good girl. Awesome. So say I called her and she went and got the Frisbee, I would just be like, pop, pop, puppy, wow, it's so much fun over here. It's so much fun over here. And then I don't necessarily have to click, but I'll then make it easier. So I'll put her on leash. If she didn't come back when off leash, go. Epic, come. Good. Ready? Wait, Halo, bring. Ready? Epic, come. Good. Epic, come. Good. Okay, go sniff. Go sniff. Thank you so much for watching. If you'd like to support my work, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe to my channel. You can also become a supporting member of channel Kikopup by clicking the join button. See you later.